Hello, welcome to another video from Mayan Technologies. Today we are going to be reviewing the Case Management module. This module is located within Sales Management, and here we can immediately see Case Management. This is used so that we can maintain in the system a history of all the communication we have with our client. For example, suppose our client is reporting a problem and we want to follow up. This module allows us to keep here the entire history of the information we are creating. We can record calls, emails, categorize, etc. This helps us a lot to be able to develop a satisfactory customer experience. How many times has it happened to us that we make a complaint and the company really did not even register it? So we call, and the person who is assisting us at that moment had no idea. This module is specifically for that, to maintain the history in the system and that the people involved always have access. As in the other modules, we will have the setup. And if you notice, there are some specific topics that help us to provide better maintenance, a better creation of the cases. The first of these are the attributes. The attributes basically will help us define and categorize what we are going to be registering in the system. Here we will be able to include specific details of the case, such as references. I will explain them later within the case, but this is so that we understand what setup is necessary. We also have the tasks. The tasks are those actions that the people involved have to carry out in order to complete the process. That is, suppose it is a quality problem and we want to create an RMA, then here is where we are going to specify which are the tasks that have to be done. They are created with a task ID. We can add descriptions, set priorities, assign what type of task it is. We can define if it is a mandatory task in case it is very important for it to be done, if it requires an approval, if it has to be submitted, if we have to alert others when this task has been completed, so that the following steps can be carried out afterwards. We have the task set. Basically, this is simply a set of all the tasks that we had already created, and this will help us to be able to carry out our case in a faster way. That is, if we already know that a certain type of problem requires certain specific tasks to be done, then we can simply add the task set that already includes those specific tasks. Next, we have the topics. The topics will be the subjects that we will be assigning to the cases so that we can define and categorize very specifically what these problems that our client is reporting to us are about. Then we have the workflow group, which are the people who are going to be involved in this case. That is, if we know that it is a problem that requires our design team, also those that require quality, we will have those people included in this group. Then we have the workflow stage, which basically are the stages of the workflow where it will be worked on. This will help us to be able to identify at what part our case is. And finally, we have the workforce, which is also used in other modules and is the people who are going to be involved and authorized to work on the cases. And now, going to the main topic, which is case entry. In this screen is where we are going to create the information that is related to the problem. Just like in the other modules and in the other screens, we have to start by creating a new record, and we are going to begin by entering a small and very brief description of the problem we are having. Suppose that for this example, we have an issue with a motor. If you notice, when I press the tab button, this same description, it will copy to the full description area. The difference is that in this part, I can be much more specific about the problem I am having. If you notice, we have a lot of space so that we can define exactly what the problem our client is reporting to us is. I can also define who is the person or contact that is reporting this problem to me. And suppose, for this example, that we are going to select a customer, and also to this same case, we can assign the owner. Suppose that I am the person who is going to be working with them, or in case that I am covering maybe a PTO and I want to assign it to another person, well, I can assign it here directly. We also have the workflow group, as I was explaining. These are the people who are going to be involved in working on this process. So, As there is already one defined here, we are going to use this one, for example. Remember that here we are going to include which are the people who have to be aware of what is happening, and now we can save, which will generate a case number. Now, case number 8 was created. What follows is that we can also make a link between the information that was already in the system. Continuing with the example we were using, the problem with the motor, we can identify in which sales order we sold this product. This will help us to be very specific regarding the information that was already in the system with the new information we are creating, and thus be able to maintain a better history. As you can see, we can do the same if we have a quote, an RMA, all the information that we already had in the system that is associated with this new problem we are reporting, we will be able to link. As you can see, we can attach what is the part number, the unit price, the quantity that they are reporting as problematic. Maybe we made a sales order of 3, but they are only reporting the problem in 1. So all that information we can have already included here, which will help us to have more detail about the problem they are reporting to us. As I was telling you, we can also define what are the topics. Suppose that we are going to use this one here. These are the ones that are created by the system. Remember that you can create your own, being more specific regarding your company. And these will enable us to be more specific about the problems that exist. This is also something that we are going to define within the setup of the topic. Now, suppose that one of the things we have to do is that based on this problem, we have to make another sales order because we have to deliver again that product that is not working for the user. Within the actions we can create, for example, we can create a sales order that will have the same information I am already attaching. In this case, we can create orders, quotes, RMAs, field service calls, jobs, etc. Basically, what we can do is that if our client reports a problem, we can, based on this, give the system the signal to take the next step. Now, I was telling you that we also have tasks. These tasks are already related to the tasks that are assigned in the task group. So these tasks here have to be carried out so that we can close the case and give it a resolution, which we will see later. These tasks were already assigned based on the information we assigned in this part. If you notice, when selecting a workflow group, it shows us a task set that have to be created here or carried out so that we can give it the resolution. So these tasks already come here displayed, each one of those that are included within the task set. And this will help each of the people involved to know what they have to do. Remember that within the specific tasks, we can dictate if they are mandatory, if they need any approval, etc. So once these tasks are completed, we will be able to close our case. Here, it will not give me the option because I still have tasks, so I could not close it. Once we do it, it is important that we also give it a resolution. That is, if we see that this problem occurred due to a very specific design problem, what I can do is come and enter the information. Or suppose it was a quality problem, and based on this, we are going to include a new step in the final inspection. All of that is useful for us to record, because by selecting this field here, called Knowledge Database Entry, it will help us go to this screen here that has a history of all the problems that have occurred. And we can make very specific searches based on text, topics, etc. So it is important that whenever we have cases, we apply a resolution to them. This, as I mentioned, will help us a lot to avoid having those dissatisfaction problems with the client, and that the client always has a satisfactory experience, because problems will always exist. So having them registered correctly will help us a lot to give that pleasant experience to the user. I hope this video has been very helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.